Today I'm going to show you how I restyled a cutting mat to meet my needs. I really like these Vantage cutting mats by Dahle. They're very heavy duty, nice thick solid material. The problem I have is I do not like the colors they use. This new one that I picked up is black, and black is just too dark for some of the projects I want to do, and if I've featured any videos, the color is going to affect my ability to light it properly. I'd rather have a lighter, more neutral color. Using the measurements from the mat itself, in this case it's exactly 18 by 24 inches, and in Illustrator, designing a simplified version that I'd like to use, I am creating a grid. The main grid I'm placing on 1 inch spacing, and then I'm creating a secondary grid with half-inch increments. That I'm going to make a lighter color. In the background I'm making kind of a light gray color. For the numbering, I am using tabs. If you haven't used tabs in Illustrator, you have quite a bit of control over them. There's actually a feature here where you can control where the tab is being measured. So in my case, I want it measured from on the right side of my numbers, so they all line up the same distance away from the marking. And I just want to hit tab and type the next number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and have it space out perfectly, so I don't have to sit here and space all the numbers. So by going to this tab setting and under paragraph styles, you basically create a new paragraph style, and here under tabs I can create a repeating pattern. So I had to do a bit of trial and error because the markings for the different types of tabs are not obvious. So I messed up on the first few, but this is the one that works, and you notice all the numbers as I type them, they end up spaced out properly where I'd like. For the vertical, I'm just going to take the same numbers, rotate them, trim off the extra digits, and I have to eliminate the 1 in the beginning so I don't have a duplicate, and that takes care of my vertical measurements. I'm going to go ahead and save this file, export it as a PDF. Now I can open this file in my Mimaki software. So to print this, I'm going to use my Mimaki UV ink printer. If you're not familiar with UV printers, they are quite amazing machines. This is a professional production unit that we use to print all sorts of graphics and designs for clients. And if you ever need anything custom printed, reach out. I might be able to help you design and print it. This Mimaki software is not the most user-friendly, but gets the job done. One of the things I have to do is reverse my print, because I'm actually going to print this on a clear sheet of polycarbonate. I want to print the back side of the sheet. So once I apply this as a cutting mat, I'm going to be cutting on I'll be cutting on the opposite side. So the cuts I make will not be cutting into the print. They'll be cutting into the face of the material, and we'll be looking through the clear material at the print. So the material I have on hand right now is a 10 mil thick polycarbonate. Polycarbonate, also known as Lexan, is an amazing material, extremely impact resistant, and I have it in this nice frosted velvet finish. We use this for creating a lot of nameplates and specialty graphics. It's actually not the ideal material for creating a cutting mat because polycarbonate does not respond well to stress cracks. So by putting cuts all over it, I believe I'm going to be introducing stress cracks, and so I don't think this cutting mat's going to last as long as I'd like. But that's the material I have on hand right now. So I just want to see how this goes. I can always replace it later. And once I use this file and the colors and the spacing, I might decide to make a modified version and run it on a proper cutting mat material in the future. But for now, let's just go with what we have and let's get this made. So here I have it on the printer. It's running. It's a bit hard for you to see. I'm shooting this through the protective covers, so it tints everything red, unfortunately. I know a lot of people disable the safety features so they can see what's happening, but UV light at this level is really bad for your eyes, and I'd rather be kind to my eyes, so I'm going to leave the safety guards in place, and I'll just shoot the footage through this. I think you can still get the idea. Basically, it's in kind of like an inkjet printer. It's going through, it's spraying down. The graphic itself, which in my case is the pattern that I designed, the black and light numbering the grid that I designed with the numbers, and then it is coming and overlaying it with a layer of white. Alright, in this case this printer actually does a double layer of white to create the opacity. It's a little bit of a slower process to do it this way because the printer is putting down two layers, one on top of the other. It's not able to fully utilize the print head. It uses about half the print head to do one of the layers, and the other half is chasing behind it with the second layer. And because the ink needs time in between to cure, otherwise the two layers would bleed together and blend together, they've timed it so that it gets enough passes with the ultraviolet lamps that are going across with the print to cure and harden that ink on the substrate, so that by the time the second layer comes across it, there's no ink bleed, there's no blending of those colors. So it's a really amazing setup. Lets us do some really complex graphics on transparent materials, translucent materials. Overall, it's looking pretty good. As I had designed, the gray of the grid and the numbers I'm happy with. The background itself is a little different than what I had wanted. I wanted a little more of a neutral tone. It's got a little bit of a color tint to it, but it's okay for this round. And unfortunately, my lighter half-inch increment grid does have less contrast than I'd hoped. I can see it. You might not see it in the video here, but I can see it. It's just not as pronounced as I would have liked. Okay, so between each step, I'm going to use this roller. Very tacky. It's a silicone roller, kind of like a lint roller, picking up any loose dust, debris, and things that might just fall and create little bumps on the lamination that I'm doing. Alright, so on my cutting mat here, there are two sides. I've got the printed side from the factory with the white grid. Again, this is just too strong a contrast. I think I'm going to go with the solid black side. This is the roller I use. It's kind of a medium quality one. I'll try to put links for some of these products down in the description below. I'm pretty happy with it. The only downside I've noticed, the roller kind of dries out. So if I haven't used it in a while, it seems to lose its tack. Here is what I'm going to use to apply this. Had I made this out of a PVC type material that most of these cutting mats I believe are made out of, I might have been able to use like a PVC adhesive to create a more permanent, proper mat. But in this case, I'm going to use this 3M double-sided adhesive. This is a very strong double-sided tape. It gets used on many of our projects. The particular one I have here is not quite wide enough to cover this mat. So what I am doing here, what I'm going to do is cut 2 sheets of this to length. Then I'm going to put them side to side, create the full width that I need. To prevent these sheets from sticking to my hands and everywhere else, I'm using some leftover liners from sticker sheets. As I go through a lot of stickers for other projects, I just keep a few of these on hand all the time. They come in handy for things like this. So I'm applying this. This will protect the adhesive, make it a little easier for me to work with this. I'm going to cut it a little bit oversized. That makes one sheet. Now go ahead and repeat the process. Make my second sheet. Done with the roll. I no longer need this. Okay, now let me try to line this up. I have to be careful because this is going to just fit the size of the cutting mat that I have. So I want to make sure I line this edge up nicely. And place a weight on it to prevent it from moving. Lift up one side, and now I can begin peeling away the liner and using a squeegee to rub this down. Because the texture on the mat and I think my squeegee being a little bit worn out, I'm not getting quite the smooth finish that I would normally like to see, but there are no air bubbles. It's just rubbing it down is working it into the kind of this velvety texture that the mat has. So I'm going to keep working it down. Now I can turn it around just for convenience because it's easier for me to kind of use the squeegee with my right hand. So let me turn this around and peel away the liner with my left hand as I work this down. I think I'm going to stop wasting time trying to really rub this all the way down because basically it's going to work either way. And the main thing is just not having air bubbles. So I think I'm just going to kind of speed this process up a little. As long as I get the adhesive down, it will hold strong. Alright, now with the first sheet done, let's move on to our second. Here I have to be really careful. I want this center seam to pretty much disappear and not have any air bubbles. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. I have to be careful as I peel this away that I don't slightly twist or deform the sheet and have it end up being skewed one way or the other. Same process. Peel away one side, squeegee it down. Now I can remove the weight and slowly work to the other end. Just keep checking as I go. Make sure I am not having that seam shift on me one way or the other. And fortunately all looks good. Able to keep that middle seam nice and aligned. The whole back is covered. Alright, so we're all set. Now I want to make sure I did not leave too much room for error. I did leave a little bleed on my design. Got about an 1/8 inch on the left and right, and I've got a little bit more the other direction, almost a 1/4 inch. So vertically I have a little more room for error, but left to right I've got to be careful here so my design does not overshoot. This is where I would like it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to flip this around one more time. This cutting mat is too thick for me to peel back. So I'm going to have to flip it over. Start peeling the adhesive on one, start peeling the liner off the adhesive on one side. This is a little tricky to get started. You can use a blade or something sharp to get in between the adhesive and the liner. And then I want to pull it back and fold it back a couple of inches. Do that to the top piece. Do it for the bottom piece. Alright, now I've got a tacky surface that will hold its position. So I'm going to carefully flip this over and line it up. Kind of using the left side as a gauge now because I have an idea how much exposed print I can have. I don't want to drop the right side down too early and have it stick. Once it sticks, it's not gonna let go. So I have to be careful. Alright, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to lower this side. So I'm feeling good about that. Press this down so it stays. And now I should be able to go ahead and lift both of these together without anything moving. So let's flip it back over. Okay. So now I can work from this side. The print is flexible enough that I can pull that back so I can reach the liner below and start exposing more of it. And then I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to kind of use the squeegee to work this a little bit at a time so that I don't leave any air bubbles. I want to adhere this from the center and push out and just keep going slowly and carefully. Pull a little more liner, squeegee, a little more liner, repeat, repeat, all the way to the end. Alright, now let me just, starting at the center, push a little harder in all directions, working out from the center, eliminate any last bits that might remain. But basically at this point, it's tacked on really hard. It's not really moving. Basically all I'm doing is embedding everything a little more permanently into the adhesive. Not much is happening at this point in terms of shifting or working out any air bubbles. This stuff is so tacky that that's it. You're pretty much, everything is now pretty much locked down. Alright, so that completes the hardest part. Now let me flip it back over and slowly want to clean up the outer edges, cut off this extra material all around. Just gonna go around these corners by hand. I'm sure there's a better way if I wanted to devote a lot of time to it, but I think this will come out pretty clean. Let me just kind of gently work multiple passes around these curves, along the straights, separate the excess, trim off all this excess, and that is the last corner. Let's flip this back over. Alright, there you have it, the finished mat. Looks good. Again, I wish this was the right PVC type material for a cutting mat, so I only would do this once. But better to try it than sit around waiting for material. So here it is, finished mat. Let me make a few light cuts. My only concern is the polycarbonate may not hold up, but I'm going to try to do light cuts on this. Anything heavy duty, I'll use my other mat for breakdown material, and then any light stuff I'll do on this where I need where the lighting's more important and I don't want the distraction of the other colored mat. So yeah, there you have it. I hope you found that useful. If you have ideas for your own cutting mats, you can use these techniques. If you want our help, if this is something you think would be interesting as a product, we actually have the ability to produce this. So we could create custom mats for any of you guys if you're interested. I'll get the proper material and print on that. So maybe we'll add that to our store at some point if it's something that you guys are interested in. Let me know in the comments below if you found any of this helpful or anything you'd like to say, any questions you have. If you find these kinds of videos useful, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification icon, share some of your thoughts in the comments down below. Catch you guys next time. Peace.